What's up, guys? I'm Newbie Dave, and today we're building our first house. Let's get started. So what's up, guys? So I want to talk a little bit about what happened between episodes before we get into the build. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it because I feel like last time I spent too much time talking about the off-camera work that I did, and it made the episode a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. But I do want to talk a little bit about what I've been working on because there's been some important changes here. So as you can see, our agricultural district has expanded a little bit. Breeded up a lot of cows because I needed a lot of leather and a lot of paper for the build today. So I found some sugar cane when I was running around a little bit and planted that. And I've just been growing that and expanding how much sugar cane I've got. Eventually we'll make a nice little farm for all this, but for the time being I'm just growing it on the banks. And then I bred up a lot of cows to get leather. So all you do here, you just feed the cows a bunch of wheat. It's easier to do from above because, as you can see, when you hold the wheat, they just come charging at you, and it's hard to tell which ones you've already fed the wheat to and which ones you haven't. And so once you've got a bunch of cows in there, you start breeding them, you get baby cows, and after a while you can just start, taking care of the adults. That'll get you a lot of leather. It also gets you a lot of beef. So as you can see, I've got a whole lot of cooked beef down here now, which is a much better food source than the bread that we've been eating. So most of our wheat now can go towards breeding cows and other animals later on, and we can pretty much just rely on the beef for food now. So why did I need all this leather and paper? Well, because I wanted some bookshelves to decorate the house that we're going to be building today, and bookshelves require leather and paper. And so now that I've kind of spoiled the big surprise, we're going to be building a house. This is going to give us a nice place to live. It's going to protect us from the monsters that spawn at night, as well as some monsters that can come up during the day like creepers. It's also going to give us a place to work when we need to craft things, when we need to smelt things. And like I said in the first episode,
I'm not one for really digging mud huts.
I like my stuff to look nice. And so the house that we're going to build today, it's kind of a big house. Like, it's not huge, but it's bigger than we're going to fit on this tiny little hill that we've started on, which means that we need to expand and move out a little bit. There's a lot of nice resources, a lot of trees, a lot of hills to the east, but I think this is really the perfect spot right here to start building our starter home. I really like this area, and I think that building right here will give us plenty of room to expand. We can clear out these trees later to build future builds, so this is where I've decided we're going to build our house. Now the sun is already setting, so we are going to sleep and then we'll get started. Oh, by the way, look what I found. While I was getting all this set up, a little wolf wandered over, and I had a stack of bones on me, so I started feeding him bones, and I tamed this little guy. So he is now our pet. He will follow us around, he'll protect us from mobs that attack. I haven't named him yet. I've got a name tag that I fished up over by the fishing pond over there, so eventually I'll give him a name. But for now, he's just going to watch us work. So this is where I want to build the house, but even now there's not really enough space for it. We need to clear this out a little bit. I need to flatten this terrain. I need to get rid of these trees. And so I'm going to do that really quickly, and I'll be right back. Alright, so here we go. So I cleared out all the trees, I flattened the land, I even had to expand it a little bit on left and right because I needed the space. Now, as you can see, I've outlined the house in coarse dirt on the ground. That's a good idea if you're working with kind of a complicated build, to just kind of outline it ahead of time. We're going to build on top of this so you'll never actually see the coarse dirt. This will just help you as you go, especially if you already have a design in mind like I do. I laid down some white and yellow concrete just to help me kind of measure things, and also to help you if you want to get like a screenshot and come back and count out the length of each side. That just helps for measurements. I'm going to break that down here in just a sec when we get started on the build. So let's talk a little bit about what you need to do when working on a build. Each build, unless it's a pretty simple build, in my mind it kind of has 4 different steps to it. The first step should always be to have a plan. Have a plan for what you want to build, what you want it to look like, what it's going to be used for. Do you need something big? Do you need something small? What style do you want it to be? During this planning phase, it's okay, in fact it's recommended, that you go online, look up some pictures of kind of what you have in mind. If you want to build a log cabin, go look up some pictures of log cabins. Especially Minecraft builds of log cabins, but it can also just be pictures of real log cabins that you might want to recreate. If it's a modern home, go look up pictures of modern homes. Maybe you want to recreate your own house. Take some pictures of your house, look at it from the outside, try to figure out what are the key features that you need to recreate, and then spend some time collecting the resources for your build ahead of time. Like I've done, I've already got everything that I need for the outside and the inside in these chests, so hopefully we can just plow ahead with the actual build and I won't have to stop and go collect more resources. And during this planning phase, maybe even go into a creative world and just kind of practice your build and see if it actually comes together in reality the way that it did in your head. So the other thing that you want to do before you get started is decide what you want your color palette to be. So the palette is going to determine the primary colors and the primary blocks that you're going to use in your build. For my build, my palette's going to consist mostly of oak logs, cobblestone, oak planks, and birch wood. I'll mostly be using the birch for the roof and the floors, and the oak will be used for the walls and the corners, and the cobblestone for the foundation. These colors, they go really well together. We have plenty of oak and birch and stone around us. So these are typically my go-to palette, my go-to resources for all of my first builds in a new world. Now, if you're starting in a desert or a Badlands biome, you're going to have different resources available to you, so you might end up using a different palette for your initial build. Later on, as we get more resources, maybe as we find some dark oak or some jungle wood, we might start incorporating those into some of our builds. Alright, so let's get started building this thing. So the third step is to actually build the outside of the structure. I'm going to start with, I'll start with this corner. So each of my corners is going to be made out of oak logs. And since I've already outlined the entire build, that was very easy to do. Now I'm going to go in and fill in between all of the oak logs with cobblestone. This is just going to be the foundation of the house. I like using stone for the foundation before I start building up the walls out of wood. I just think it gives it a nice look, and it kind of breaks up the walls so that they're not the same color, the same material all the way up. Alright, so we've got our foundation in. Now we can start working on the actual floor. So the floor, like I said, is going to be made out of birch. And because I'm kind of cheap and I don't want to use more resources than I have to, I'm going to make it out of birch slabs, because you can get twice as many slabs out of your birch planks. And so it takes 3 birch planks, it takes 3 of any planks to make slabs, and you get 6 slabs out of it. So you can cover twice as much ground using slabs than you can using planks. So we'll just start over here and go all the way across, and we're going to fill in this entire area with birch slabs. Alright, and there we go. We've got the foundation and we've got the floor put in. That was easy. So now we're going to build up the walls. For the walls, I'm going to use oak planks. And I'm going to continue these oak logs all the way up. And my walls are going to be 4 blocks tall. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll just do this with all the corners first. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we've got all of our corners built up for blocks. So now we're going to start filling in the walls. Now this is where I'm going to put the door, so I'm going to leave this one and not fill it in yet. So I'll start over here on this wall. I'm going to put down a bottom layer of blocks first, and I want a window on this side of the house. And that window is going to be 3 by 2, so I'm going to leave these 3 blocks blank and build up around it. And then we can fill this in with glass, and there's our window. So So same thing on this wall. We'll do the bottom row first, and I'm going to have a 4x2 window on this side. So I'll build up around the window frame, and then come back and fill it in with glass. Now this back room is going to be a storage room. It's going to be filled with chests, and so you won't be able to see out any windows if there were windows. So I'm not going to put any windows back here. I'm just going to fill this entire thing in with oak planks. So I started to fill in this long sidewall, and I forgot one very important thing. I'm going to break this section up into thirds. So every fourth block, I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put another column of oak logs. So I need to take out some of this cobblestone. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. Otherwise, you just have one long wall that's all the same. That's not going to look good. Alright, so we've got all of the walls for the house up already. Now let's take a look at our front door. So I actually want this area to be a porch. So what I'm going to do is on the corner here, I'm going to go up with two oak logs, and fill in this whole front section with birch slabs. And then put some birch steps on the front. I'm also going to fill in the side here with birch slabs. And because this is going to be a walk area, I'll take out the cobblestone and also fill that in with birch. Now on the side here, we're going to put down some oak fences so you don't fall off. And we'll put in our doors. Now doors, I always forget which way they go. Yeah, I want them to be on the inside and open to the outside. On the inside, it's going to just be flat with the wall, which looks okay. And on the outside, it will give it a little bit of depth because the doors are kind of sunken in. So I think that looks nice. Now above the doors, we'll do oak planks on the top. But to give it a little bit more depth and texture, I'm going to do some upside down oak stairs that also go back so they kind of align with the door. Now before we move on to the roof, I forgot there's one more layer that goes on top of this. We're going to put oak logs all the way around the top of the walls. Now to do this, I need to get it on top of the walls. So I'm going to go up here. I'll do an oak log. I'm going to take the corners up one more on each corner, and then I'll put down oak logs in between them. Alright, so this is looking good, but if we just leave it like this, all of the walls are going to look very flat. So to help kind of break up that flatness, on each corner, I'm going to go out one log in each direction, and that's going to make it look like these beams on top are kind of extending out past the corners. This will add a nice little bit of depth to each of the sides, and also just adds some nice detail to the build. Alright, so now it is time to work on the roof. Now we need to get back up there to do this, so I need to build a little staircase out of dirt. Now, because I built my staircase here, I'm going to do this side last. Now the roof is a little bit tricky. It took me a lot of practice to kind of get this one. The reason it's so tricky is because this is an odd shaped building. Each side sticks out from the main central area. We've got one long wall over there and 3 shorter sections. And so how it all comes together is going to be a little bit tricky. Now something you're going to want to keep in mind when working on the roof is you want to be crouching almost the whole time. While you're crouching, you cannot fall off the block that you're on. And so that's going to keep you from falling off and having to run back and get up over and over. So I'm going to put this first stair down right here in the corner. I want my roof to overhang on each side, and so that's why I'm going out by one block instead of just starting it up here. And that's facing the wrong way. I want to go on this side. And then we'll do another one right above it. Now on this side, I'm going to go on the back, and make sure you aim for the top because I want this stair to end up upside down. If I aim for the bottom, it's going to be right side up. Come back up, put another one on top of that, another one on top of that, and I think 1, 2, 3. I don't remember how many up to go, so I'm going to start on this side and we'll see where we end up. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll put one down, upside down, right side up, upside down. Yeah, that's right. So I want one blank spot in the middle. I'm going to close it up with slabs. So I'll put 1, 2, 3. Let's take a look at this from the bottom, from the ground, and see how it's looking. Yeah, so that's the shape that we want. So when you're working on the roof, stairs make a great roofing material because it's easy to get that slope that you want. Just be careful that you don't go up too high with your roof. If it's too high, it's going to look weird. And because each of our walls are different width, it would end up being different heights if I took this all the way up to a point. So that's why we're leaving that blank spot in the middle that we're going to fill in with slabs, and we'll have a flat roof on top of each of the arches. Now, because this roof is a funky shape, I'm going to do the gables on all 4 sides first, and then I'm going to kind of work them towards each other to see where they meet up. Now, even though we don't have a section that's extending out on this side, I do want to put a gable over here. Otherwise, the incline of the roof over there is going to extend all the way down to this side, and it's not going to look very good. So you can see this is kind of a pretty weird roof. Each of these so far is a different width, which is going to make it kind of hard to bring it all together. All right, so now we just need to extend each of these over until they meet up in the middle. So I'll start with this side. These logs that I added to the side are actually going to cut through our roof. So I'm going to kind of go over this way, all the way to the corner here, and then I'll make a turn. And we'll do the... See, I wasn't crouching. So I'll make a turn, and we'll just come all the way back over, make a turn, and we're just going to do this on each side. Now these corners are a little bit tricky because there's nothing to place it on. So what you have to do is you have to go over one more on this side, and then put your next stair onto this one, and once they connect up, it'll make that turn. Now this one's going to be a little bit weird because these two gables are so close together. So I'm going to do one out there and then immediately turn and bring it around so it meets up with this one. So it looks a little bit weird now, but once we get the whole thing filled in, it'll look a little bit better. All right, so we've got all the stairs in for the roof. So now we just need to finish filling it in with the slabs. And the reason you want to use slabs for this is because slabs are not considered a full block, obviously, because they're only half a block. And so mobs cannot spawn on slabs. And that's great news for your roof. You don't want mobs spawning up on top of your roof during the night and then dropping down and attacking you during the daytime. So if you don't use slabs on the top, then you're going to have to do something else to prevent mob spawns. I don't want to put lighting on the roof, and so the other options are putting down like buttons or pressure plates or other things that are going to block spawns. So slabs is really the easiest, most practical way to do that. Alright, so I've got all the slabs put in, and that is going to finish the roof. So let's hop down and take a look from the ground and see how it's looking. Oh yeah, this is nice. I'm really liking how this is looking. This is going to look really good. Alright, so there's just a few more things we need to do on the outside before we can call the structure done and start working on the decoration. Now, I like the cobblestone foundation, but it's all very flat, and we need to add a little bit more sort of depth and texture to these walls. So I'm going to take out some of this cobblestone and put in some stone walls. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the cobblestone that's next to each of the log columns, and I'm going to replace all the ones in between them with cobblestone walls. So notice that adds a little bit of depth and makes the foundation look really nice. And so that finishes up our foundation, and yeah, that looks a lot better. So now we just need to fill in these gaps on each of the gables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come inside the house, kind of build myself up a little bit, And I am going to fill the outside with fences because I think that looks really nice. But to avoid seeing into the house and seeing through it, I'm going to put some light gray concrete right behind the fences. Now don't worry about how this looks on the inside yet, we'll take care of that in a little bit. But take a look at how this looks from the outside. Oh yeah, I like that. The gray from the concrete really blends in with the foundation, so it kind of brings the top and bottom together. And it feels like there's a big empty space up there. It sort of creates an artificial depth behind the fences when it really is just a flat wall. So we're going to do this on all 4 sides in each of the gables here. All right, take a look. It is looking good. I am really happy with how this is turning out. I like the way it looks. I think it's a good structure. It's got plenty of space on the inside. I'm liking the detailing on the outside. So yeah, I'm really happy with this build. So that basically takes care of the outside structure. The reason you want to build the entire structure before you start working on any of the detailing like plants or decorations is because if you make a mistake or if you decide it's not quite working or the size is all wrong, once you start putting in decorations, it's going to be a lot harder to kind of backtrack and redo part of it. So get the whole structure up first, make sure you like it, and then you can start working on some of the detail work. So that brings us to step 4, which is decorations. Now we have an outside to decorate and the inside. I'm going to start with the outside. So I'm going to grab all of my outside decorations here. And let's start, let's start over here. Hey guys, I'm going to cut in from the future here really quick. So the decorating took about an hour and I didn't really want a video that was that long. So I'm just going to speed this up really fast and kind of put together a little build montage so you can see some of the things that I worked on. But I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time on it. Decorating is really kind of a personal choice how you decide to decorate things. And so feel free to get some ideas from this process. If you want to try to decorate your build the same way, that's fine. But also feel free to add your own flair, your own ideas, your own decorations. Do your own thing. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the decorations. I'm just going to speed through this really quickly. So enjoy. Alright, so we're done with the build, and here's the big reveal. I am so happy with how this turned out. I love this build. I think it's nice and cozy. We'll do a quick tour of the outside. We've got a little work area over here where we can do some work on the anvil. We'll go ahead and do that right off the bat. I've got a name tag here that I'm going to put on the anvil so that we can finally name the dog. And I'm going to name him Buddy. That is the name of my dog. So here you go, Buddy. There we go. Come on, Buddy. You can come with us. So we'll come around back. We've got our little work area. In the back, we've got our garden with the scarecrow. I love that. I love the effect of the scarecrow. Got another little garden for some flowers. And then I really like this path. You know, mix up some pathing blocks, some coarse dirt so it'll never turn into grass. Just make it look kind of rough and rugged, like it's overgrown, like it's been there for a while, like it's been used. Throw in some fences for decoration. Just mix it up. Inside, I love this entryway. It just feels nice and cozy and inviting. You walk in with the bookshelves, the carpet. If you saw earlier, I put some wool down under the carpet so that it sounds like carpet when you walk over it. Over here, we've got the bedroom with a little desk to do some work at. Little kitchen area with a smoker and a sink. This is our pantry, so I'll keep all my food in this chest. That way I always know where my food is. And then our storage room. You know, eventually we're going to outgrow this, but this should last us for plenty of episodes. Got plenty of storage for all the early game stuff that we'll get. And everything else in here is purely decoration. Feel free to decorate your house however you want. You don't have to copy this design. If you want to go with something else, have at it. This is just what I wanted to do, and I am really happy with how it turned out. I especially love the way that this house looks at night with it all lit up, all the lanterns. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this build. Feel free to copy this design if you'd like. Feel free to make any changes you want. You can decorate the inside however you want. Hopefully it gave you some good ideas. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. That way you'll get notified of future updates. And I've already got a great idea in mind for the next episode. It's actually going to be a two-parter. We're going to do 2 small builds back to back in one episode. So I'm not going to give away what it's going to be yet, but check back next week and you guys have fun. Thanks.